Okay, so thank you very much. Let me say a few things before I do the formal presentation. First of all, thank you for the invitation to come to speak. This is a tremendously interesting area, and right up front I can say Science Foundation Ireland is interested in funding excellent proposals in this area. So we are open for business. The proposals have to be excellent. I'll explain that in a few moments. They have to be impactful. This is an impactful area, but we'd love to fund more stuff in this area. So that's the first comment. Second comment is that there is great collaboration between the various funders. So Frank, for example, in Chazzock we have a partnership with almost all the funders within Ireland and indeed internationally, which I'll speak about. And one of our early partnerships was actually in precision agriculture. It's still a live partnership. So there's no funder ego in this. I mean, if anybody else wants to fund it, that's terrific with me. If they want us to be part of it, that's also terrific with me. So we're really open for business. And in that context, we operate in a global environment. And to be announced this year will be a partnership between the Biotechnology and Biological Sciences Research Council, which includes agriculture in the UK, and ourselves. And that will be a very simple partnership where bluntly any of the BBSR schemes in the UK will be open to Irish participants. And from the higher education sector, the public sector in Ireland, if the proposal is successful in terms of collaboration, the BBSRC will fund the UK bit and we will fund the piece in Ireland. And vice versa, any of SFI schemes will be open to the UK and the BBSRC will fund the UK bit and we will fund the Irish bit. So that makes it really simple for people, no special schemes. It's up to you whether or not you want the collaboration. And also to be announced this year will be a similar agreement with the US Department of Agriculture. So the US Department of Agriculture will join with the Department of Agriculture in Ireland and the Department of Agriculture in Northern Ireland in a scheme which I will tell you about, which is the US-Ireland scheme, where you have a collaborator in Northern Ireland, a collaborator in Southern Ireland, and a collaborator in the United States to work on a common problem. And again, the US Department of Agriculture will fund a bit in the US. We will fund the piece in Ireland. That'll be the Department of Agriculture. And the Department of Agriculture in Northern Ireland, the piece in Northern Ireland. So there is a lot of things happening in the funding space, which are all very positive in terms of the user. We're really open for partnership with industry. That's absolutely key to what we do, and you'll hear that in the rest of my talk. So the kind of strong message is we're open for business. We'd love to see this area succeed in Ireland. And what I want to do, because I'm conscious that some of the folks don't know Science Foundation Ireland, particularly as well from the agricultural perspective as perhaps from some of the IT perspective. And so what I'm going to do in about 5 or 10 minutes is give you a very quick overview. It's a whirlwind snapshot with just some key points of things that may be of interest to you. So basically SFI, founded in the year 2000, established in 2003, and has spent about 2.2 billion euros since that time, about 4,000 awards, and at the end of last year we had about 800 live awards and about 500 million in future commitments. We're part of the enterprise family. There are 3 enterprise agencies, SFI, Enterprise Ireland and IDA Ireland, and our colleagues are in the audience. And on the bottom you see the technology readiness levels. Science Foundation Ireland spans everything from 0, which is an idea, actually up to about TRL7, which is a demonstration system, but we fund predominantly in TRL levels 1 to 3. There's a deliberate overlap with our colleagues in Enterprise Ireland, and our colleagues in IDA tend to be funding more into the industrial sector. All 3 agencies collaborate extremely closely with each other. There's a very good working relationship. And what Science Foundation actually does is it makes grants. We can only fund into a higher education institute or a public research body, Tyndall or Teagasc in Ireland. Our sister agencies, IDA and EI, can fund into a company, EI into SMEs, and into the indigenous industries, IDA into the foreign direct investment, and SFI into the public institutes, but that's often in collaboration with industry. It's all, absolutely all, based on competitive international merit review. You do not get anything just because I or anybody else thinks it's a good idea. You get it because you write a very good proposal. It goes out to the best people around the world for review, both for scientific excellence and for potential impact. This funding trains people, it builds infrastructure, produces scientific results, and then we transfer that scientific output to new and existing companies for economic and societal benefit. And we're absolutely interested in the supply of appropriately trained people. Everything from birth to death is of interest to me. Basically, we're interested in taking children into the STEM area, encouraging them to study STEM subjects at school and university. And equally, we're interested with the general public in making sure that they have a proper understanding of science and are therefore equipped to deal with many of the decisions that they will be faced with, many of which will also involve the agri-sector in the years to come. You will see on Tuesday of next week, we'll announce a partnership with RTE, which will see more scientific programming featuring science that is relevant to Ireland and indeed Irish companies and scientists for the general public. So that's part of our mandate. Very significant industrial collaboration that's attracting companies, foreign direct companies, anchoring companies, i.e. keeping them here and allowing them to expand, and starting companies. Very keen on leverage, so we like to leverage other funding, whether that be industrial funding, EU funding, charitable funding, philanthropic funding, international funding, doesn't matter what. We're interested in using the state's money, your money, the taxpayers' money, catalytically in order to be able to leverage other funding. We're particularly interested in leveraging non-Irish exchequer funding, so that's typically industrial funding, charitable funding, philanthropic funding, EU funding, rob a bank, that's fine with me too. It's not coming out of the taxpayer's pocket. And we like to foster high levels of collaboration between academic groups, different academics around the country, and with industry, with charity, different disciplines, sectors, and so on. And we try to be open, agile, and engaged and seize new opportunities. So if you ask in round numbers what do we get, the budget of Science Foundation Ireland is about 150 million. It's actually a bit more than that, but it's around about 150 million per annum. We fund about 3,000 people, led by about 450 leading scientists. There are 12 world-class centres of scale in Ireland conducting research, and I'll speak about some of those in a moment, about 730 live awards, and every year that produces about 2,500 scientific papers, more than 900 collaborations, equally split with big and small companies, and a range, typically 4 spin-outs, 30 licensed technologies, a bunch of patent filing. And typically we leverage about 1-to-1, so for the funding that we spend of Irish taxpayers' money, we leverage the same amount of money, other researchers or leverage that money from other sources. We can do better there. And there are about 1,600 international collaborations with over 50 countries. We have a strategic plan. These are the 4 goals of Science Foundation Ireland. Goal number 1 is to be the best science funding agency in the world at creating impact from excellent science. So those 2 words, impact and excellence, are really important. We don't fund research unless it's absolutely internationally excellent, and we don't fund research unless it's impactful. So we cannot be the best science funding agency in the world, we're not big enough, but we can be the best science funding agency in the world at creating value for money, which is about impact from excellence. Number 2, partnerships, absolutely key to what we do. We're very keen on partnerships with other funders, with private sector, very keen on private sector, with the EU, internationally, partnerships are the name of the game for us. Number 3, to have a very engaged, scientifically informed public. My benchmark for that is when people in Ireland talk on their doorstep to their local TD as enthusiastically about science as they do about either football or complaining about the hospital or the schools or something like that. We have a long way to go on that. And then number 4 is to be an ideal public service staffed in a lean and mean way, and I can speak about that if anybody's interested. So what is impact? Impact is about the demonstrable effect that excellent research makes to society and the economy. And there are, for us, 6 pillars of impact. Economic impact, which is front and central. Health and well-being, which is about keeping people healthy and contributing to that in a policy way or preventative. Natural capital and built environment, very much in the space that you're in. Policy and public services. Future capacity and skills, that's looking at things that are not yet predictable. And societal and international impact. So those are kind of 6 pillars of impact that capture what any piece of research can deliver for society. And then there are 3 cross-cutting themes across those 6 pillars, and they are creating new products, processes, policies, or behaviours. So that's doing something new that didn't exist before. Then there's improving efficacy and efficiency of existing products, so that's improvement. And then the third pillar is the third cross-cutting theme is to research to improve resilience or sustainability, and that's really about looking at things for the future so that you're equipped. So that's the sort of framework of impact. I told you that we fund 12 world-class research centres. It's a very significant investment, and here are the objectives of those research centres. These are to be world-leading, they're to be large-scale, and they're going to deliver major economic impact for Ireland. They have to have absolutely excellent research and leadership. They have to absolutely increase the level of industrial and commercial investment. They have to attract companies, they have to retain companies, and they have to create companies, and they have to leverage the taxpayers' money. So we funded 12 of those. It's the largest ever state industry co-funded investment in Ireland, 350 million euros over 6 years from the Exchequer through Science Foundation Ireland, matched by 190 million euros from over 250 industry partners. So this is a public-private partnership. It supports key growth in the areas of the National Research Prioritisation Exercise and the Action Plan for Jobs, targets research and societal challenges, and supports about 1,300 researchers. These are the centres. I'm not going to go into them in any detail. ADAPT is about digital content. AMBER is about materials and bioengineering. APC, based jointly with Chagas, is about gut microbe interactions, future foods, functional foods. Connect is about Internet of Things, and Willie's part of Connect. Curum is about medical devices. ICRAG is about research into applied geosciences. That's hydrocarbons, water, and waste. Infant is about disorders and diseases of pregnancy and the first 2 years of life, including infant nutrition is in there. Insight is about big data analytics. Insight, you may be interested to know, is probably the largest big data research centre in Europe. I repeat, is the largest big data research centre in Europe. It's got more than 800 researchers. It's got 85 million of SFI money. And if it's not the biggest, it's one of the biggest, and is taking a leading role in Europe, a leading role. And actually one of the directors of Insight 2 days ago won the Google Prize for the world's most interesting app, wearable device in the health field, actually, is to recover from orthopedic surgery. So this is on a global scale. Okay, there were 10 shortlisted for that prize, which is in North America, 9 of them from Silicon Valley, 1 from Ireland. The one from Ireland won. That's impact, okay? Cutting edge technology, absolutely at the forefront of the field, judged by people at the forefront of the field, has an economic impact, obviously, and it's about getting people to rehabilitate after they've had orthopedic surgery, which clearly has health benefit into the community. IPIC, which is about photonics, based at Tyndall. LERO, which is software, marine renewable energy in Mary, and Synthesis and Solid-State Pharmaceutical Centre, which is about crystallization, the basis of the pharmaceutical industry. We're not done. In steady state, there will probably be, I don't know, probably 15, no more than 20 research centres of this scale in Ireland. You will notice that there really isn't anything there in the agricultural space apart from APC, which is about functional foods. In part, that's because it's covered by our sister agency, Chagas, who fund in that area. But we are actually interested in Agritech and precision medicine as a potential future research centre. So if this area really takes off, then it could get added to the list. These things are dynamic, okay? They live and die by their performance and by their timeliness. And so we will be looking in that space to see what we might do. So research centres are some of those. If you are not part of one of those research centres, you can join at any time. In grey on the screen is the Spokes programme. This is a way that a new company or group of companies, a new academic collaborator, can join any of the existing centres. It's very simple. There's a competitive application, there's a minimum co-funding, and we can go into the details. But these centres are dynamic. They're always adding new projects, new partners. You can come and go into the centre as you wish. We can connect up the centres. We'll be looking at Internet of Things, connecting into functional foods, ICRAG, water, connecting into the other bits and pieces. Some of our other industry-facing programs on the screen here on the left-hand side is the Industry Fellowship Program. This is the most intelligent or generous scheme in the world. Of course, I am biased, but let me tell you why I think that is the case. We will fund any of the 3,000 researchers who we fund in Ireland to spend up to 1 year working collaboratively on a research project in a company anywhere in the world. I repeat, we will fund them with their salary to work on a collaborative research project in a company anywhere in the world, and we'll fund their salary and their pension costs and so on for 1 year to do that. There is no limit to the number of fellows that a company can take. The only limit is your ability to attract them, and also the ability to write a short proposal which will be reviewed. This is about collaborative research. This is essentially a training program or a career development program for the researchers. More than 90% of the researchers we fund go on to work in the private sector. We have schemes for the next generation professors and advanced researchers, which I'm not going to tell you about because it's not appropriate for this audience, but that's at most 10% of the people we fund. At most, it's probably closer to 3%. This is a scheme for the 90% of people who will go to the private sector to sample private sector research, industrial research, and see what it's like. It's an opportunity for a large company to take some people and do some skunk work, get into a field or what have you. It's an opportunity for a small company to engage in some research. And if you like what you see and you can sample the Irish research, then we have schemes that you can graduate into. We have no requirement about what happens to these people at the end of it. You can hire them. They can go back to the university, they can stay in the country that they went to, they can come back to Ireland. We don't mind. We take a very medium-term view, which is if somebody's had a good experience and the company wants to hire them, why would I want to get in the way? If they really don't like what they did and they want to come back, that's fine too. So it's a very open scheme. It's unlike any other scheme in the world where there's requirements that people have to go back and work in the public sector. We don't take that view. We take the view that we'll get that back going forward. Then we have the partnership schemes shown in green. Basically what that tells you is Science Foundation Ireland cares about excellence, research, it cares about impact. If you are a company and you want to do something with researchers in the public sector in Ireland and it's excellent research and likely to be impactful, then we will talk to you about it. We don't get out of bed for less than €1 million, so these are schemes of scale, they're not small schemes, and we expect 50-50 co-funding in cash from the company and from SFI. There is no upper limit to the amount of money you can apply for. If you want to put on a 30 million project, that's fine with me. You want to put on a 100 million project, that's fine with me. It just has to be absolutely excellent, cutting edge, and I'll find the money from the public sector if the project meets those requirements. This is an important scheme. In the Agritech space, we have a number of things in the works. I'm delighted about that, and we would really love to see more. So we're open for business under the partnership scheme. Research professorships is about attracting talent to Ireland. If there are areas we need to develop and there aren't people in the research base in order to develop that, then we have a scheme to try and help the HEIs to do that. And you should also have an input into that in terms of thinking about the right people. And there are currently 50 of those on the go. TIDA is a way of developing an idea that you may have developed and are trying to commercialise, and that's in partnership with Enterprise Ireland. And then we have a whole pile of programmes about recruitment and supporting early and middle career researchers and outstanding individuals, which I'm not going to go into. They're probably less relevant for this audience. I'll just finish on Agritech. I think it is really, really important and positive area for Ireland. We've heard a lot about that today. I don't need to repeat it, and I'm sure Frank will say a lot after me. There's a lot of convergence in this area, which is really appealing, convergence between the ICT companies, the data analytics companies. You're right, big data itself is of no value. It's the analytics and the insight that you get out of the data, sensors, and the very rich traditional agricultural research that's in Ireland. Ireland has all of the actors. It has the companies in ICT, food, agriculture. It has researchers in the HEIs. It has the government agencies, ourselves, CHASIC. It has the farmers. It has all of the ingredients. So what we now need to do is we need to connect the dots and come up with excellent proposals. Actually, we don't even need new schemes. There's plenty of schemes within SFI. We're open for business. So the rate limiting step is not the schemes. It's actually the creative energy to get the right proposals that are going to make sense scientifically and impactfully in. I think we can take real leadership here in the EU. I'm very keen that Ireland leads and wins. I repeat, leads and wins in various Horizon 2020 projects and other programs. This is one of them. There's real potential for global leadership and export potential, and there is clearly competition. We are not alone. There's competition from the UK, from the USA, from New Zealand and other places, but there's also opportunities to collaborate there as well. So as in all things, there's a fine balance between collaboration and competition. We have the schemes that allow you to collaborate. I'll enunciate some of those at the beginning, with the BBSRC, with the US. It is for you to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to collaborate or compete. What I need to do as a public funder is to put you in the position where you can make that decision and you can exploit the scheme as you choose. So I hope what I've done in the last 15 minutes is give you a very quick whirlwind tour of SFI. Haven't had a chance to tell you in detail about anything. Really important, positive area, an area we've already done a joint initiative with Teagasc, and we will do more co-funding if appropriate, or with our other agencies, somewhere where we'd love to see proposals. And I can tell you, but it's confidential, so I won't give you any more detail, there's already some really great stuff in the works, which is fantastic. Thank you very much.